Do you often worry that your partner might leave you? Do you become anxious when they seem distant? Or want to know every detail of their day? Abandonment issues refer to an intense but unfounded fear of losing loved ones or them leaving a relationship. The fear of abandonment is when we as a kid, we felt like abandoned in some way, either physically, emotionally, or through some form of neglect, leading us to feel that our feelings didn't matter. Having an abandonment wound is much more common than you may think, and this fear can become internalized and affect the way individuals navigate the world. Let's discuss 9 signs that you may have unresolved abandonment issues. 1. You carry irrational and constant shame. Do you enter situations with a sense of not being good enough, feeling bad, or unlovable deep inside? As a kid, when your parents divorced or when one parent left you alone in a movie theater for a few hours, you might have thought, "I caused the divorce, my parents didn't love me enough to stay together," or "I'm bad, that's why my parent left me alone." You may not recall the exact meanings you attached to those events, but you felt alone and fearful. These beliefs shape the way you perceive the world, like peering through broken glasses. 2. You have intense separation anxiety. Do you feel anxiety when your loved one leaves for a couple of days, even though you can handle things fine on your own? There's something about the moment of departure that feels primal, almost like a child being left behind, as if you've been injected with a toxic chemical. It may even lead to physical symptoms, like nausea and headaches. 3. You struggle to trust others. Do you have trouble believing promises made by others? Would people say you're guarded and cautious in new relationships? Deep down, you believe nobody will ever truly be there for you. In the end, we're all on our own to some extent, right? You might have internalized emotional trauma and a strong fear of being left alone. In some cases, this can lead to unreasonable jealousy and suspicion in your friendships or with your partners. 4. You tend to be clingy. Do you feel anxious when your partner doesn't respond to your messages? Do you have a strong desire to know every detail about others in a relationship? It's common to experience a sense of clinginess and a need for closeness in such relationships. You might want to spend all your time with someone and heavily depend on them, seeking control in every aspect of the relationship. You continually seek reassurance to alleviate your fear. 5. You are a people pleaser. Do you seek to impress everyone? Do you fear saying no may make others leave, driving you to gain their approval and validation? Because we're not drawing that validation from self, because as a kid, we weren't given that, or we weren't taught that. You make yourself indispensable to others, stretching yourself thin, driving them places, maintaining their homes, and doing favors. As long as it keeps them around, you may be willing to neglect yourself. It's like an unconscious belief, even if you don't want me, you'll still need me. 6. You fear emotional intimacy and fail to fully commit. Do you feel suddenly find yourself becoming turned off by your partner during moments of emotional intimacy and honesty? Intimacy is too risky because it demands vulnerability, which could expose you to further rejection. You are unable to commit fully to a long-term or emotionally engaged relationship. You act detached and indifferent, even when you really do care. You won't let yourself connect because you're preoccupied with seeking signs of rejection or busy clutching onto your partner while anticipating their departure. 7. You look for reason to leave. Do you make a list of your partner's faults? Seeking imperfections is a subconscious way to create a barrier against closeness. You might knowingly distance yourself from your partner to avoid getting hurt if they leave. You could become dismissive, argumentative, or devaluing your partner in an attempt to provoke a conflict and find a reason to exit the relationship. Your aim is to be the first to abandon the relationship to minimize the emotional pain you might feel. You might even say, "I'd rather leave them than have them leave me." 8. You move on quickly. Do you rush into the next relationship? When you quickly move from one relationship to the next, you don't allow yourself the time and space to deal with the emotional fallout. Instead, you dive into something new and exciting as a distraction. You avoid being alone because it was so painful in your childhood to be in your own skin. You don't know how to relax and calm your body without something to help you literally turn down the volume inside. So, you move on to a new relationship to avoid facing your inner self. 9. You stay in unhealthy relationships. Do you often end up in harmful relationships with the wrong person? You're wired to recreate similar situations. You're drawn to familiarity, even if it's harmful, because it looks like a comfort zone. You know you can survive in this zone, but stepping out of it is uncertain. So, you stick to the same pattern, like following a well-worn path that leads you to nowhere. What do you think about these signs? Does the fear of abandonment harm your relationships? If you're haunted by this fear, know it's not your fault. If you find this video helpful, could you like it and comment below, saying, "It's not your fault." Thanks for tuning in.